much for having us today. I'm Viveka Ifibahara from Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit, Dovvsu.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm excited that you are here with me today. I'm primarily a medical doctor. I am a public health specialist. I work with the Ghana Health Service for over 20 years and currently the head of the National Population Council. And so that is in summary who I am.
How well informed are you about gender-based violence or sexual or domestic violence in our society, precisely Ghana?
Well, I think I would want us to go back a little. You know, looking at the work I do now, population and gender-based violence are really interlinked. You know, it's population, family, and sexual health. So that is the linkage. You cannot talk about population without talking about sexual health. And so you cannot talk about population without talking about gender-based violence or optimal sexual life, because the linkage is there. You know. So that is really the focus of the work that we do. Population to reproductive health and family in the middle.
Okay, great. So it's liaised.
Yes.
You can't do without the other.
No, you can't.
Okay. So what's your view on gender-based violence?
Well, you know, I think we always need to look at the big picture.
Okay.
And the big picture is sustainable development. And so how does gender-based violence support or otherwise sustainable development? That is how we have to look at it. Unfortunately, we focus on victims and perpetrators and not look at the big picture. So we miss it. But if you look at the big picture of gender-based violence, how does it affect us as a society? How does the perpetrator take away from society, and how does the perpetrator also enables the victim to take away from society? The perpetrator, Dovvsu will go after, will use funds to go after the perpetrator, and then the nation will also use funds to take care of the victim. So we have to look at it in that way and not just focus on victim-perpetrator relationship. It's a bigger picture we have to look at, because little victims, little perpetrators add up to families, and families add up to population.
Financially, how much is being invested in addressing these violence? I mean, there's gender-based violence, but there are other violence that are unseen, that are unheard. What is being done? What is being invested to prevent it or to assist survivors, aside from the psychological need and the physical address? What is being seen to address these matters?
You know, I'll flip the question and say that what are the gains if we prevent it? What will be the gains to families, to nations, to NHIS, to Ghana Education Service, to the security services, to our national office, to Ministry of Finance, if we prevent it? How much are we spending to maintain this inequality? How much are we spending to maintain this level of gender-based violence and sexual-based violence? How much is NHIS aimed to take care of battered women? How much are we paying? How much is it costing our educational system when children have psychological problems and they go to school and they cannot learn? How much is it costing us? You know, at times we talk about how much we need to prevent, but we don't talk about cost savings if we do. How much is the cost saving? I hope that our intellectuals will work on this and give us the cost, how much it is costing us to maintain this level of violence in our society. And let's decide if that's how we want to spend our money, on something that nobody benefits from.
So how can the National Population Council and the Police Service collaborate in this agenda?
Well, the National Population Council and the Police Service are very well poised to collaborate in this agenda, because you know what? When we fail to do our work, you bear the brunt.
Yes.
It's like I said, the rubber, and then the shovel. But then we do not see we see you, that you are not the silting. But if we are supposed to work well and make sure that our policies and our institutions are on their toes and working in sync, in harmony for the good of the person, then we would make it. So the National Population Council and the Police Service can collaborate together to let us know that sexual health is an integral part of population management. And so how can we prevent instead of treating all the time. There's primary prevention, secondary prevention, tertiary prevention. Primary prevention is more effective and cheap. So how can the police also, in addition to forming shelters and doing secondary and tertiary prevention, help the National Population Council to preach the source, the root cause? And that's what we are doing. That's why I was very excited that you approached me. I realized that now we are working not in silos, but together for one common goal.
Thank you so much for having us. But before we go, I would like you to speak to a survivor out there, someone struggling with gender-based violence, who thinks that speaking up will cause stigmatization. What do you have to say to people, the survivors of gender-based violence or all sorts of violence going on?
You know, I would want to tell survivors that it's only weak people who attack people. Strong people protect. Strong people protect. It is only weak people who attack. And so the survivor should know that the perpetrator is a very weakling, it's a weak person. And you should not feel bad to help others to overcome. And when we speak, you speak, I speak, everybody speaks. Weaklings will disappear. Light comes and darkness disappears. You know, those perpetrators always do things in the dark because they are cowards, they are afraid. And so survivors, when they stand up to them and come out in the light, we will drive all perpetrators into the darkness and our communities will be free and happy.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm sure your speech so far would guide someone to know who and where to contact when a violation is being ongoing and how to thrive to be their best as a citizen of Ghana and others as well. Thank you so much.
But I also would want to tell the perpetrators that, you see, we can help you. We know that you are weak.
Yes.
That is why you want to exercise your power over somebody. But there are so many other ways that you can exercise power for dignity and for your own good. I don't think perpetrators are happy when they do what they do. They also have psychological problems that we should help them. So they should know that, yes, power play, helping others, and being protective is where real power is. And so perpetrators, yes, we sympathize with you too. And we hope that you would also be counseled to know that hurting somebody, it's really not power. It's a sign of weakness.